Sandra, who was a friend of mine. She was supposed to go over there to meet someone to build a house, and something came up and she couldn't go, so I had to go. I went over there and been going ever since.
I went on a global business trip to Ecuador. They said you should really volunteer with your local group, which I hadn't been able to get into because at the time, unless you were a UNC student or you were with a group, it was hard to get in with anybody. So I did the build in Ecuador, and then I came back. There was an open slot, and I went out.
The first time I built was a women build in 2014. The first thing I remember doing was roofing, and so women build and roofing were always my favorite.
Once on a Sunday, I was working on a house, and Richard showed up. She said, "You're not supposed to be out here by yourself." I said, "I'm not by myself."
There was one time we had the inclusion build. So it was on a Sunday, and we're all out there, and all of a sudden Mildred shows up. This is a Sunday. Mildred just shows up, and she's like, "What are you guys doing here?" And we're like, "What are you doing here? It's a Sunday." She's like, "Oh, there's a piece of siding that I needed to fix." So Odie in some ways stands out to me just because the pandemic happened. And so it was like the one normal left in my life was to go out to Odie Street. We were on David's porch, and so we were like all spread out. I guess we only were allowed maybe 3 volunteers and a site supervisor per house. And so at lunchtime we would all then come back, like everybody would just come back to that one porch and like pass the cookies around.
We were at Odie, and then we went and we started working on Star's house, and I remember the first day that we had a lot of volunteers come back, and it was the most exciting walking up and seeing, like, I say so many people, it doesn't compare to what we're having now, but compared, there were people everywhere, and it just felt so good. After all that time of just a few of us being out there to build, and everywhere we went being so few people, we finally were able to have like real volunteers. I mean, I tell people, I mean, you know, jokingly and seriously, Habitat's my social life. It really is my favorite thing to do on a Saturday. I know I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna see Sarah. I'm gonna see people who are excited to see me, and I'm excited to see them. I'm gonna meet some new homeowners, might meet some students. You know, you don't know when that next person's gonna come along that is then gonna be your next good friend for the 5, 10, forever years. I don't know, because it's been 10 years out there, and I've made great friends at Habitat.
You've been out there 10 years?
10 years. 10 years this year.
It doesn't take much to have those years pass by.
No, it really doesn't. They're going fast. I do hope to be like Mildred. And
right? That was going to be mine. I want to be like Mildred.
We want to be like Mildred. We want to be building houses when we're in our 80s.